Welcome to the show, presented by VDG Sports. I am your host, Vince Douglas Gregory. Hey, I have an amazing show for you. I am so happy. I'm so proud. I am so glad that you've been taking your sports fanatic journey with me. You've graduated from being a novice to advanced level. Well, now allow me to take it a step further. How to determine whether or not you're dealing with a sport hater. You know, one who just hates the hate. I am here to provide you a blueprint, a guide. There's going to be some caveats, of course, but for the most part, you can take this to the bank. You can take this for what it's worth. I mean, as you already know, regs that is, it is serious time. I have my serious spectacles on. That means it's going down. It is going down. Now, it's okay for someone to not like your team. That's the whole art of it. That's the whole science behind sport banter. It's the back and forth. It's the jokey jokes. It's the expressing one's feelings, true feelings, behind comedy, behind ridicule, behind mockery. But it's another thing all in itself. It's another thing all in itself when it comes to someone disliking your team and they have no rhyme or reason behind it. They dislike your team and they lack the gravitas. They lack the banter. They lack everything when it comes to jousting verbally. You can think of it as your team sucks. You can think of it as, yeah, but they ain't no good. Yeah, okay. But what about some whataboutism in there? There's some classic clues. But once again, there's some caveats behind this. Because you have to determine whether or not you're dealing with an advanced level hater, a mediocre hater, or a contrarian. Sometimes the three can be one. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate between. But to understand a contrarian or a hater, how about this? How about I give you a cheat sheet? How about I provide you with the cheat code when it comes to this? You say you like breathing air. You enjoy breathing air. You love breathing air. Breathing air is something that you can't live without. And they come around and say they don't like air. They don't like breathing air. Then you know what you're dealing with. You got some options. You have some options. You either can proceed with caution, which I highly suggest you don't. Because someone who say they don't like breathing air, it's a problem. It's some issues. It's something that a conversation, it's something that banter ain't gonna fix. Or you can eject. I suggest you eject. I suggest you end that combo. I suggest you go on your merry little way. I suggest you traverse down the yellow brick road. Or you can know what you're dealing with, stay and play along, and just make up stuff to make up stuff, knowing what you're dealing with. But that's only when you have reached peak levels. That's only when you're comfortable and you're okay dealing with that level of contrarian, that level of hating. Because if you're still a beginner, you probably should run. in the flight or fright instant, just go ahead and run away. It's okay. You can't win every battle. You shouldn't want to win every one. You should have a understanding, knowing that you're going to take some L's. You're going to have to hold some L's. And holding the L in that case is okay. It is all right. Just because that game ain't fair. Just because that game isn't fair. Then, in addition to that, sometimes peeps and people like to make up their own facts, like to just throw numbers out there just because it sounds good. Throw numbers out there because it might not get checked. Throw numbers out there and say a bunch of stuff afterwards and not give you time to check the facts or to fact check. When you're dealing with that, it's pretty easy to figure that one out. It's pretty easy to understand. It's pretty easy to know the direction that's going to go, or where it's going to end up, or the end game, I should say. You're faced with another dilemma. You can continue to banter, continue to do what you do, and hope and wish that the tenor of the conversation, the tenor of the banter would change. Or you could just flip mode, flip game, flip the script, and play along and create your own facts and create your own facts and just go into the one-up scenario. But the one-up scenario is pressing the red button. The one-up scenario is a scenario I'd suggest you use as the last resort. It's not something that you go to often. It's something that you go to when you have to. You go to when the situation calls for it. And hopefully it's a rare situation. It's a rare moment in time that you will have to go to this, because it's pressing the red button. It's mutually exclusive, mutually assured destruction. And I meant to say exclusive the first time, but it's definitely assured, mutually assured destruction. When you press that red button and you go one up, because now you're going to have to know that what they saying is boo boo, and you're going to have to provide the feces as well and allow the feces to be flung around. And if you're not good in that environment, if you don't want to just have crap thrown up against the wall and thrown everywhere, yeah, it ain't good. It's not good. So you're going to have to be prepared for the feces throwing, be prepared for that environment, and just one up and one up and one up and one up. And your game is going to have to be on point. Your game is going to have to be tight. It's going to have to be better than how it is when it comes to sport banter. It's going to have to be better than your snarky game, because you're going to have to be creative on the fly. You're going to have to be able to make things up, but have it sound believable at the same time, simultaneously. And it's going to have to be quick. It's going to have to be an instant. This is where reading and continuing to input and have knowledge on just about everything is going to come in handy. And if you're not a book reader, if you don't read the read, if you don't like the dictionary, if you don't like the thesaurus, if your word play is something that you don't play with, yeah, it ain't good. It's not good. But, or you can just call out the non-facts, call out the make-believe, call out the fairy tales, call out the nightmares. But once you do, know this. You're going down somebody else's rabbit hole. And when you go down somebody else's rabbit hole, you don't have control. You're at the whim of them. And I didn't mean that to rhyme. It just did. I didn't mean that to rhyme. It just did. But you're at the whim of them. When you go down someone else's rabbit hole, I'd suggest you do it once, maybe twice, every 5 years. You shouldn't get used to it. It shouldn't be something that you are willing to do more often than not. It should be next to the red button as a last resort. But that's not mutually assured destruction. That's you being powerless. That's you not being able to steer and control the direction of the conversation is going to go because you're too busy fact checking. You're too busy calling BS. You're too busy on the defensive because they're on the offense. You don't want to do that. Or you can just eject. Ejecting, getting out of the conversation is one of the best ways to prevent being stuck with a hater. Ejecting is one of the best ways to ensure that you are intact when it comes to your peace of mind. It's okay to banter. It's okay to say things to say things. It's okay to have jokey jokes. Wordplay is one of the best things in the world, especially playing with words, big words that is. But when you're dealing with a hater, when you're dealing with a contrarian, when you're dealing with a hater who poses as a contrarian that don't like air, yeah, it's only so many options that you can, it's only so many options I can provide. It's only so many things that you can do. But it all comes down to what you built for and how much you value the entertainment of it all, or if this entertaining for you, period. These are the main things. There are nuances within every position, and there's some that I left out on purpose because this isn't advanced. This is just advanced level when it comes to recognizing and figuring out a hater, contrarian, and all of the above, and escaping and get away and understanding what you're dealing with. Because you're past the point of being a sports fan and the sports fan life and the fanatics versus supporters life. We're here now. We are here now. So go ahead and pat yourself on the back, flea clap, standing ovation, do it all. It's well deserved. It's well deserved.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.